Without further ado, I'm going to stop my chatter and we're going to move forward with our presentations from the universities. And so our first representative is from from Appalachian State University, and that is Megan Hudson. We also have with us our NCCU representative, who is Jada Hunter. We also have with us our UNCG, or UNC Greensboro representative, and that's Cory Norton. We also have our Campbell University representatives, and that is Jared Nichols and Taylor Ellis. And then we also have with us from UNC Pembroke, we've got Caleb Mcmillan. So we want to thank you guys so much. Huge round of applause to all of you for taking time out of your evening to come and talk with us. And without further ado, we're going to get started with Appalachian State. So if Megan Hudson, you're ready, you've got the floor.
Sounds great. Hey, everybody. My name is Megan, and I am an admission counselor here at App State. And what I do pretty much is help students with the application process from the beginning. For a lot of our freshmen here, this is a great learning process for you all the way through when you make your college decision and start your enrollment steps to attend that school in the fall. So that's just a little bit about what I do, and I'm really excited to talk to you about the university. Miss Lester, if you're controlling, you can go to the next one. It's okay. So here at Appalachian, we are located in the Blue Ridge Mountains. And I know we can't use the chat feature, but just be thinking about if you've ever made a trip to the Blue Ridge Mountains before. It is a popular destination for a lot of North Carolina families and a lot of out-of-state families too. So if you ever decide to make a trip out this way in the near future, then I definitely recommend it. These are some of the things that we're really proud of here at Appalachian. We are consistently ranked one of the best values in terms of money and cost in the state overall. We are proud to say that we are one of the most affordable institutions in the entire state of North Carolina. So that is a big perk. And one of the bigger things that I think is really important is just our community feel here at Appalachian, which is definitely one of those things that you can feel the moment that you step on campus. Moving into a little bit more about our student profile, this information is really important, especially as you are considering what schools to apply to and what kind of institution that you want to attend. And the first thing I always recommend is, what sized institution do you want to go to? Do you want to go to a smaller school, or do you want to go to a larger school? And so here at Appalachian, we have about 18,000 undergraduate students, and we have about 20,000 students total. And that is something that classifies us as a mid-sized institution. And I really want to touch on the top left, the numbers in the top left, because regardless of what grade you're in right now, I think this is a good idea of what you need to be aiming for as a future applicant here at Appalachian. And with that, I just want to give a quick disclaimer. If you're not in these ranges, don't feel discouraged. Definitely go after what you want in terms of the schools that you want to apply at. And just keep in mind that this is a range. So about 50% of our students that are admitted place in these categories. So don't be deterred from applying to the university if, say, you have a 3.5 GPA. That's totally okay. And the good news is that we look at every single thing that you send into us when you apply. So there you can see SAT, ACT, as well as GPA numbers in the range. And that, I think, is really important, especially for juniors that are interested in applying to the university. I also have a little blurb here about our campus situation this fall with COVID. That is a big question that is on the minds of a lot of current seniors and students that are getting ready to apply to college. And I'm proud to say that our response was really good this past fall, and we were one of the biggest schools in the state that was still in session during that time. So really happy with that overall. So moving on into a more fun discussion here at Appalachian. Miss Lester, okay, perfect. Here we have the various majors that you will be able to follow if you have a specific career path in mind. We have over 150 different majors, so even if you don't know what you want to do yet, the good news is here at Appalachian you get about 2 years to decide, and that's because we are an institution that believes that you don't have to know right when you apply, and that's okay. So you'll get some time to think about what you might want to do. So be thinking about it, but don't feel pressure to know exactly what you want to do. One of the really big perks at Appalachian is our ROTC program. So if you're interested in that, we have a really great option for you. Moving to the next slide, here at Appalachian, we have a ton of different options for you to get involved and build that community that I was talking about earlier. We have over 400 different clubs and organizations, and those stem from more athletic-based organizations. So if you want to join a club sport or maybe a varsity level sport or even an intramural just to compete against your friends, that is an option. We have Greek life. We have a lot of clubs that you could also join, and freshmen also live on campus their first year, and that is expected. So you can look forward to being placed in one of our 20 resident halls, and you'll get the opportunity to pick your roommate as well. So as we move on to the next slide, just to touch on the application process really quickly, here at Appalachian, we highly recommend applying early. So this particular slide is most focused for our current juniors, but freshmen and sophomores, definitely keep in mind that you're going to apply in the fall season, even if you're not applying for a couple of years. I think that's kind of easy to remember. And apply early. That is really big because we want you to be eligible for scholarships, which is free money, and we love free money. So if you don't apply early action, you could apply during the regular decision period. Those are our main 2 periods. And for seniors that are with us today, if you haven't applied, guess what? You still can. And we are currently in the rolling admission period. So moving on into my tips for students, this is actually my final slide that I want to leave off with. These are some of the things that I recommend as an admission counselor when you get ready to apply to college. When you apply to college, you get to select an essay in the application management system. And that essay should be indicative of who you are as a person and should be something that you're very proud of. So definitely work hard on that essay. Get some people to proofread it and help you with that. And then the last 2 tips that I have here, the first 2 kind of relate to that. The last 2 things, do the recommended pieces for the university. You'll learn more about that in the application process. And then this one is so key, especially with COVID and you guys getting so many emails. Check your email and also set up your voicemail if you can, because a lot of us admission representatives like to call our students and get to hear your voice. So definitely do that. And I think that that's it, because I know we only had a couple of minutes just to introduce. So I wanted to leave off with my contact information, which is on the final slide. And these are our other visit opportunities, and take advantage of those because I know you all are a little over 3-ish hours away. And the very last slide is my number and my email if you want to take a picture of that to have it for the future. So thank you for your time.
Awesome. Thank you, Megan. And please, please, please take a picture of this. If you need this contact information after we're done with this session, please feel free to contact me, Ms. Lester, and we'll get you that information too. So thank you, Megan, for representing Appalachian State. And we are now going to move on to our next school. And so again, we've done Appalachian State University, and now we're going to move on to Campbell University. So without further ado, if we'd like to have Jared go ahead and get started, that'd be awesome.
All right. So hello, everybody. My name is Jared Nichols. I'm a brand new admissions counselor here at Campbell University, working on undergraduate admissions. What I help out with is helping students create their college decisions, formulating the best applications for themselves to make the best case, and overall creating a very great college university experience for every student that walks through our Campbell doors. So without further ado, I am excited to tell you guys a little bit about Campbell so we could get this show on the road. So, all right. So we are near a lot of different locations. So we do provide a little bit of some variety here. We are about 45 minutes from Raleigh, 1.5 hours approximately from Greensboro, 2 hours and 45 minutes from Charlotte, and also an hour and 45 minutes from Wilmington. So we are in the heart of North Carolina, where everything beautiful happens, as I would say. So that's a little bit about our location status. Also, you can also feel free to look at the statistics that we do have here. A little bit over 4,000 students, and that also allows for a lot of smaller class sizes, so that develops a really personal relationship between you and your professor. They'll know when you're in class, they'll know when you're not in class, they'll know your name, first name and last name. They'll be able to email you, contact you, and develop that type of relationship that we do have with our students. Here at Campbell, you're not just a number, you're a person, you're an individual, you're family. That's what we preach the most here. So that's a little bit of information. So feel free to look, if you will. So, right. As you can see with the information here, it is 16-to-1 student faculty. Like I was saying with the class size, we do have a little bit over 20 to 25 students in each classroom. So that, like I said before, it involves really a personal relationship, speaking to what we do preach here in terms of you being family. We do provide that family experience here, so that way you're not just in class, you're not just another person. You're here to learn. You'll get an up close and personal learning experience that we do offer here at Campbell. So you can look at a lot of the other statistics that we do have here as far as GPA and then test scores and things of that nature as well. Right. Student activities. Getting involved is very important here on campus. It's always an important part of your college career and things of that nature. So we do provide things about 100+ clubs and organizations, 10 Greek life organizations for student media outlets. And we also do provide intramural sports and 21 Division I Campbell sports as well. So we do have a lot of school spirit. The games are always very lively and things of that nature. We've been able to keep that up virtually and things of that nature throughout this process. So we do have a lot of school spirit through our student activities. All right, and here's a couple pictures that we do have in terms of on-campus events. Always the volleyball game yearly, our muddy volleyball game, which is a really good activity that we do have with our students. Very fun. A lot of people come out. And it's always a really fun time. So just like we work hard, we play hard as well. So, all righty. And here is a list of our Division I sports that we do have in women's and men's sports. So like I said, we're very passionate about it, very competitive. So we do like to compete. We love to win. So we do like to put on a really great show for our Campbell fans. All righty. And so this is one of my favorite features. The brand new student union, not even a year old. So like I said before, we do like to keep a lot of things in-house. We do realize the area and we do like to keep things close-knit in a family aspect. Hence the fact that we do have a 2-story, brand new state-of-the-art gym that we do provide for our students. Also, we do include a game room and a movie theater. Yes, a movie theater. We do have a lot of really cool features that you would normally see on the outside of a college campus, but we love to keep it inside. So we like to keep things up to date. We like to keep things fun and up and going around here. So that is our brand new student union, which a lot of people enjoy daily. So. Right. And we also do have a little bit of some facts about our facilities. We do have an 800+ seating banquet hall for a lot of different events on campus throughout our organizations and student involvement. And do we also have the movie theater that I mentioned before that seats about 200+ people. So you could always take a friend to the movies and things of that nature. You could have a really great time. So we put a lot into this facility, as you can see by the information here. So we do care a lot about our students' success and also experience outside of the classroom as well. All right. So this is a little bit about our scores and things of that nature. You will also have a free application. So that's always a really good money saver, along with your official transcript. And also we do have the test option. So you can choose whether to submit your test scores or not submit your test scores throughout this year and next year as well. So we do have that test option for you when the time does come. So. Alrighty, and also for scholarships. I will say one thing that we do care about that separates us is the fact that we do care a lot about affordability here. We do offer merit-based scholarship based on GPA and possible test scores. We also do accept outside scholarships, whether it be from your school, from church, anything of that nature. We do allow that to be stacked on top of your initial scholarship, and then we do offer endowed scholarships as well. So it's always help at any turn that you need as far as financial status and things of that nature, because we do believe that everybody deserves to be here. So we do provide the most financial stability that we can as possible. So that's a little bit about our scholarships. All righty. So if you do have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can always hit us up at our phone number, and we do also have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat as well. We are very well prepared with all our social media sites, so feel free to ask any type of questions, and we are always here for you. I look forward to everybody coming in 4 years. Some of my ninth graders in here. So that is all for me, and thank you guys for having me.
Awesome. Thank you, Jared. Thank you. Thank you. We're glad to hear about Campbell University. And if you want to take a picture of that, you definitely may. Again, this is recorded for you guys. And so now we're going to move on from our private school, Campbell University. And we're going to go a little bit away from there, just a little bit. We're going to go to North Carolina Central University. They are a historically Black college or university, and so we are going to start with them. And so if Jada Hunter, if you are on, the floor is all yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jada Hunter. I'm an admissions counselor here at North Carolina Central. I'm also an alum of this wonderful university as well, as I graduated in 2017. So we are located in Durham, North Carolina. It's right outside the capital city of Raleigh. We're about 20 to 30 minutes away from there. And you can go to the next slide. And so a little bit about NCCU. As Ms. Lester said, we are an HBCU, so historically Black college university. We were founded by Dr. James E. Shepard. He's an alum of Shaw University, which is another HBCU located in Raleigh. We were founded in 1910 based on the motto of truth and service, which is still our motto today. We're one of the few campuses in North Carolina that do require students to complete at least 120 community service hours prior to graduation. And they get them a million ways on campus, whether it's joining organizations or just going out into the community. Our mascot is the eagle, and our school colors are maroon and gray. So a little bit about our student body. So we have 8,078 students for our enrollment. So for HBCUs, we're considered a medium to large size university. However, for universities in total, we're considered a medium to small size university. So kind of depends on what scale that you're looking at for there. So we do offer 81 degrees and 146 degree concentrations. So we have more concentrations than degrees because concentrations really allow you to hone in and focus on something that you want to do. Like if you're really interested in criminal justice, then one of your concentrations could be in law enforcement if you knew you want to be like a police officer. And then outside of that, if you flip back to the other side of the screen, you'll see that we do have a top 5 majors out of those 81 that do include business administration, nursing, criminal justice, psychology, and biology and biomedical sciences. The sciences are going to be really big for us because we're in the RTP area, also known as the Triangle. And so from there, that's the biggest place in North Carolina where you're going to find a lot of medicine. So it's us, Duke University, Chapel Hill, and then NC State as well. So we all kind of collaborate with each other and do, you can take classes at our school or their school, even if you're enrolled at one. Is because you're doing a lot of those medical classes. And then we do have 2 research facilities on our campus to kind of aid in that as well. Our business administration program is one of the best that you're going to find in the country, especially for HBCUs, because it is accredited. And that does help a lot with internships and job placement outside of upon you graduating. And then our criminal justice, that was my major as well. So I'm just going to shout out criminal justice because that was one of the best ones. So they give you a lot of opportunities to do a lot of things that you want to do. In a wide range from the criminal justice field. If you're looking to go into law enforcement, law, whether it's homeland security, more like a government spectrum and things like that. So they do give a lot to you. Outside of that, we do offer 100 student-led clubs and organizations that you can choose from. So there's a million things you can do. Like I said, because we're HBCU, within Greek life, we're heavy in that. We have what is called Divine Nine for our Greek life. And then outside of Divine Nine, we also have a Latina sorority, a Christian fraternity and sorority, as well as the band fraternity and sorority. We have great clubs such as SGA. We have Royal Court. So if you know anything about HBCUs, we're big on representation. So if you ever see like the king and queen and stuff like that, that is what we call our Royal Court. Of course, we have student activities board that plans all the fun events on campus, like homecoming, spring fling, and like all the fun games and stuff that happen. And then outside of that, we do offer a student to faculty ratio of 16:1 and an average class size of 23. So even though we have about 8,000 students on campus, a lot of your classes will be a little smaller, a little more tight knit. So you can get kind of learn from your peers as well as your professors. And that kind of adds to the value of NCCU because you're not being taken away from that. And you're not feeling just like a number in a classroom, right, as a person. And a lot of your professors will know who you are, you by name. And, you know, if you're not in class one day, they might ask you what's going on and things like that. Because they'll, if the more you talk to them, the more they'll talk to you and they'll get to know a little more about their life. We are Division I in athletics. We're part of the MEAC conference. That's the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. We have about 13 different teams that compete. We're most known for our men's football team as they've won the MEAC for the past 4 years outside of this year, but we're blaming COVID and nothing else. Our football team has been pretty great in the past as well. They have some championships. We have a great men's and women's tennis team, track team, volleyball, as well as golf. So if you're looking to come play with us, we are still recruiting right now. And then if you are a freshman, sophomore, junior, just know that we typically start recruiting on the off season of the sport. So kind of look on our athletics page and kind of keep in mind with those times. And then we are a top 10 HBCU. We're actually number 7 of the top 25 from CollEDGE Panel. Next slide, please. So looking a little bit at our residential living, freshmen do have to stay on campus for their first year. It is a mandatory requirement that we have, but it's really based on you getting to know the campus, the Durham community, and you're really moving away from home and your parents, so it's a whole different level for you. So you do have to stay on campus, but if you do have a car, you can bring it for your first year, and you can kind of come back and forth as you would like, and then kind of explore the Durham community as well. We do offer 12 residential halls and 3 different living styles that you can choose from. So we offer traditional style, like you would probably see like on TV or something like that, where it's you and your roommate and y'all share that one room. We offer suite style, so you have a little more autonomy to yourself. Suite style, you get a bathroom within your room, whereas with traditional style, you don't. You would share a bathroom with everyone else on the hall. And then we have apartment style as well, just like any other apartment that you'll find in North Carolina, but on our campus. You can have your own apartment or your apartment with roommates. If you do have roommates, you'll probably have up to like 3 of them, and then y'all would have 2 bathrooms in there versus the one with suite style, and then a kitchen and a living area. And then outside of that, every residence hall does include laundry, computer labs, communal kitchens, study spaces that you can kind of check out and use when you want to, lounge spaces. So you can kind of, do what you want to do, make it your home. Of course, be safe and things like that, but you can decorate your room, things like that, how you want to. Every room does come standard with, of course, a bed, a dresser, a closet, a desk, and a micro fridge. And then you can bring some other things you want, depending on how you want to do that. Next slide, please. So looking a little bit into our application and requirements, our application stays open pretty much throughout the year as we are a rolling admissions campus. That means that our application opens up in August and it doesn't close until July. But however, we do have certain periods. So we do ask a lot of students to apply early just because, again, that's the best time for you to look at scholarships. And our scholarships open up on October 1st and they close on February 28th. So that is kind of a short window, but we do offer a wide variety of scholarships ranging from departmental, full ride, merit-based. We have a lot of links to some external scholarships because we do accept a lot of those as well. But that's a part of the application process where you're putting everything in. So you do have to put your online application in on our website. It's only on our website. You can't find it anywhere else besides nccu.edu. You do have to do your NC residency to make sure that you are a resident of the state. If you really want in-state tuition, I'm hoping you do, because out-of-state tuition does cost quite a bit more. In-state tuition is a lot less, about $10,000 less actually. You will need to pay your application fee. The application fee with us is $50. However, we do accept fee waivers. So you can always receive a fee waiver from your school counselor, from ACT, College Board, NACAC, any sites like those. Just fill out the PDF and send it to us and we'll apply it to your application. Our minimum GPA for acceptance is a 2.5. For the 2021 year, as we're still accepting applications, we waived our test scores due to COVID. However, because some of you are freshmen and sophomores, we might go back to requiring test scores for those later years because we're not typically a test optional school. So if we do go back to our test scores, our minimum GPA, our minimum SAT will be a 10-10, and our minimum ACT will be a 19. And then we're looking for your official transcript for all your mandatory course requirements that do include 4 English classes, 4 math classes, 3 science classes, 2 social studies, and then 2 foreign languages. And that's everything for application process. We don't require an essay or anything like that. You can submit recommendation letters if you want to, but they are not required. And like I said, our application is still open for the 2021 year for the seniors that we do have on here. It will not close until around July 15th, but please keep aware that some things will happen before then, so, such as you have to accept your scholarships by May 1st, and that's around the corner as well. Next slide, please. And so once you've got admitted with us, there are a few next steps that you have to go through. Even if you're not a senior right now, I would still pay attention to these next steps because they do not change for us, and the dates are pretty much the same every year. So you will confirm your enrollment by paying your $100 enrollment fee. That says that you're 100% sure you want to go there and you want us to save your spot. The deadline for that will be May 15th. You have time, but the earlier you do it, the better. Once you get accepted, you can confirm your enrollment as early as you would like to. So you can kind of keep that in mind. Completing financial aid is always a big thing with us. Like I said, a majority of our scholarships are closed as they started in October and will go through until February. But if you're not a senior, please keep those kind of dates in mind. The FAFSA opens up October 1st every year as well. So just like think about FAFSA and then think about NCCU as well. And then outside of that, the deadline to accept them is May 1st. Applying for housing, as we talked about earlier, that is the process where you'll pick your residence hall. You can pick your own roommate if you have any friends coming with you. You'll pay your deposit, and then the deadline for that will always be June 30th. And then you're registered for SOAR, which is New Student Orientation. We have orientation over the summer. We're excited to have it back in person this year, as we had to have it virtual last year. But you'll stay on campus for a couple of days, a couple of nights, so you'll be living in a residence hall. And then you'll pick your classes. You'll get to know some of your professors, get a tour of campus, any placement tests and everything like that. So that kind of wraps up everything you need to do before you come in for the fall. And so I just want to say thank you so much. If you want to take a picture of this, this has my contact information on it, phone number, email address. I'm very active on my work Twitter as well. Social media is kind of like the fastest way to get in touch with me sometimes as well. So you can always comment or DM or something like that. But if you ever want to come take a tour of our campus, like I said, we're located in Durham, North Carolina. It is a city, so it's not a rural spot. So there's a lot to do. We always encourage students to find what we have on campus, but kind of step into the Durham community as well because it's rich in a lot of history. And then we always have to have a good time. So if you know anything about us, you know we're big in athletics and we're big in having a good balance between a good time and our academics. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Jada. And again, take a picture if you can. And this information, again, is recorded. And so thank you so much for sharing about NCCU. And now we're going to go to another part of the state. And we're going to hop over to the University of North Carolina, Greensboro. And with us tonight, we have Cory Norton to represent that school. And so without further ado, Cory, go for it.
All right. Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Cory. I am an admissions counselor here at UNC Greensboro, and I'm also an alum of the university in the class of 2020. So yes, the COVID class, that was me. But I'm really glad that I'm here with you today to share about our institution so you get to know us a little bit better. So this slide kind of highlights kind of the big things that you want to know. So Greensboro, North Carolina, where we're located, is the 3rd largest city in North Carolina. We're about 90 minutes away from both Raleigh and Charlotte, so we're super central. Then you can also make it to the mountains and the beach with Asheville and Wilmington, about 2.5 to 3 hours away as well. We have 20,000 students here at UNCG, with about 16,000 of those being undergraduate students. We have over 125 majors for you to pick from, and we'll go over some of those in detail in just a second. We have over 300 student organizations, so whether that be honor societies, club sports, fraternities or sororities, you name it, we have it. And if we don't, all you need is you and a couple friends, and you can create your own organization. Something else that's really unique about our campus is we are not qualified as a predominantly white institution, nor a minority or nor a HBCU, we are actually right in between. We are 50% students of color, so we yet have a really diverse student body, and that allows for students to have a lot of unique experiences that they wouldn't otherwise have without going to an institution as diverse as ours is. And then alongside with that, we are also 24% first generation. So as promised, we're going to talk a little bit about majors. So you can see here on the side our top 10 majors at the university. And these are our top 10 majors for our current freshmen. So these are really up to date. So these are some of our really popular programs. I also want to highlight some of our programs here at UNCG that makes our campus really unique. So the first photo you see, that is our our College of Visual and Performing Arts, more specifically our School of Music. We have one of the top School of Music in the state as well as the Southeast, and we also have a really highly competitive musical theater and dance program here at UNCG as well. So if you're interested in any of those areas, I highly recommend coming to take a tour, and you can also take a tour of those facilities as well. We have a really strong School of Nursing. We just actually opened in January a brand new nursing complex that's completely state-of-the-art, so we're really excited to expand our nursing program in that way. We also have a really cool business arts, if you will. So it's actually the program I graduated from, which is our Consumer Apparel and Retail Studies program, so fashion marketing. So that's really unique in our School of Business, and we also have a program within interior architecture as well. And then our School of Education produces our School of Education produces some of the most educators within the state of North Carolina every year. And we also have opportunities with undergraduate research, internships, and study abroad with any major that you choose. So you really can't go wrong with anything that you pick here at UNCG. So while we don't require our students to live on campus, about 80% of our first-year students do, because we have so much going on. So I'll kind of highlight some of our big things. So we do have about 17 residence halls here on campus. And again, we offer all three styles. So that is going to be your traditional. So that's going to be our first year style housing. So when you live on campus as a first year student, you're going to be you and a roommate sharing your room and then sharing the communal restroom with some other students on your hall. After that, you can move up to suite styles. That's you and a roommate, or you can have your own room, and then you're just sharing the restroom in between. So Jack and Jill style, if you're familiar with that. And then we also do have apartments on campus as well. So we have all of those available. Once you complete your first year, all of the options are available to you, so you can kind of pick and choose from there. We also have 14 on-campus restaurants. We just got a full-service Chick-fil-A 2 years ago, so that was a really exciting development. We did not have that my first year, so it's really cool that we have that now. So whether that is our, we have a Bojangles on campus, whether that is our Stone Oven Pizza place on campus, Salsaritas, all of that is available to you. And we also have our dining hall that has 17 stations. So there's always something different rotating in the dining hall, so you're never going to be eating the same thing all the time, I promise. The one thing that you can bank on is Fried Chicken Wednesday. Every Wednesday, fried chicken, collard greens, mac and cheese. So if that's your jam, make sure you're in the dining hall on Wednesdays. We also have our Kaplan Center, which is a 216,000 square foot facility that opened in 2016. It was a $92 million project, so we're really excited to offer that to our students. So that offers pretty much any type of recreation you're looking for. We have 2 Olympic-sized swimming pools in there, a 52-foot rock wall, as well as all of your training equipment and 4 studio spaces. We are a D1 school as well. We have 17 Division I athletic teams, and they all play here on campus, and they're free for students and family and friends to attend. The one exception to that is men's basketball. Men's basketball is the only team that plays off campus. They play over at the Greensboro Coliseum, and I'll show you a picture of that in just a second. And that is the only team that has a small fee for family and friends, but it's always free for students. We also have our on-campus transportation, taking students back and forth to the games all the time, so you're never gonna have an excuse to not go to the games. Basketball games are super fun, and our team does really well. We actually made it to the March Madness tournament this year, which was really exciting. And then lastly, you heard me mention already, but we do have over 300 student organizations for you to choose from. So no matter where you attend college, my biggest piece of advice is to get involved, because you're going to meet so many people who are passionate about the same things as you are. So now that you learned about life on campus, here's a little bit about the city of Greensboro off campus. So we are the third largest city, so there really is something for everybody. So whether you're into the arts, we just got the Tanger Performing Arts Center built downtown. We're going to get touring Broadway productions and musical artists. We already have touring musical artists and touring teams play at the Greensboro Coliseum, which you can see a photo of on the screen, where our men's basketball team plays. And Greensboro is also a really cultural and really historic city as well. If you remember hearing about the Greensboro sit-ins while you were in school, that happened just down the road, about 1.5 miles at Woolworths. And so we are actually home to the International Civil Rights Museum. So that's a really cool piece of world history built right into our city, and that's something that we're really proud of. And last but not least, if you like to eat, you're not going to be disappointed by Greensboro. We're home to a lot of award-winning small businesses and small restaurants that students like to go to on weekends or evenings after class. So if you are ready to join us, and I hope you are, these are kind of the steps that you should follow. So you complete your online application via Common App, which is probably our most popular platform. And we're also on CFNC and SpartanLink, which is our UNCG specific portal. If you are a current senior, we are still accepting applications until July 15th. But if you are 9th through 11th grade, you can see our deadlines over on the left. Our 2 early action deadlines, the only difference between the 2 is how early you hear back from us, but both of them qualify you for scholarship consideration as well as opportunities within our honors college. So to finish your application, you'll need to submit your official transcripts and test scores, pay the application fee or submit fee waivers, and your counselors can kind of help you access those. Another important thing to do is to file your FAFSA. Everybody likes money for school, and the way you get that is by filing your FAFSA. We also award our merit and need-based scholarships at the time of admission to students who have filled out their FAFSA. So obviously, we can't see if you're need-based if you don't have your FAFSA filled out. So make sure that you complete that by the time you complete your application, and you might get a nice scholarship offer with your acceptance to the university as well. Another great way to do that is to write your essay. It will say optional, but pretend it doesn't, because the essay opens up a lot of opportunities for you. It allows us to get to know you a little bit better since you're writing about yourself, but it also can qualify you for some of our higher level scholarships, especially within some of our particular degree programs. Our Bryant School of Business and Economics, for example, considers all of their high level full ride scholarships by writing the essay. So all you have to do is write the essay. You might get a good chunk of change from it. So I highly recommend it to anybody who's applying to the university. As several other schools mentioned, we are test optional this year as well because we are part of the UNC system. We don't have for sure word yet if that's going to be continued on to next year, but we will always advertise it on our website and make it available to you. And then lastly, on this slide on the right, you can see our averages. Again, these are just averages. We do accept students with 20% above and below these numbers, but this is just so you kind of know what to expect. And lastly, this is my contact information. So if you have any other questions after this, please feel free to reach out. We are doing on-campus tours right now, which is pretty cool. So if you want to schedule a tour, you just have to head to our website and you can pick a time. So you'll be led around campus by one of our student Spartan guides. So you'll also get the student perspective as well. I highly recommend you doing that. Campus is beautiful right now. We have all of our trees blossoming. So it's a great time to be here. But I hope you got to learn a lot about UNCG, and I will send it back to Ms. Lester.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Corin. And we are going to get moving. Take a picture of that if you need to. Again, this is being recorded. But let's get moving to our final school of the evening, and then we will move on to our panel questions. And our final school is UNC Pembroke, there at towards the more bottom part of North Carolina. And with us tonight, we have Caleb Mcmillan. So Caleb, the floor is yours.
Hey everyone, I am Caleb Mcmillan. I am a recent graduate of UNC Pembroke. I graduated in May of 2020. My technical position here, I'm Assistant Director of Undergraduate Admissions. So I help incoming students in certain areas, but I can also help you even if you're not in my area. That's totally cool. My goal is to make sure students get started. And I do a couple other things here in the admissions office, but today I'll kind of just give you an overview of our campus and what we have to offer here for our students. So here at UNC Pembroke, we were founded in 1887 to educate Native Americans. Our first name was actually Croatan Normal School. And a little bit of history, Normal School was actually the name of or for schools that had education. So education is still one of our top 5 majors here, so we pride ourselves on that. And in 1996, we became a part of the UNC system, hence UNC Pembroke. Our total enrollment number is about 8,200 students. That includes our undergraduate, graduate programs, online programs, and our community students. Now, our student faculty ratio is roughly 18-to-1. So when you think about that transition from high school to college, it's very doable here, especially with our average class size about 20 students. Our school colors here on campus are black and gold, hence the black and gold on the graphics that you see. We do have a total of 41 undergraduate majors and 18 graduate programs. So with our undergraduate majors, they range from our School of Business to our School of Education, as well as our College of Health Science and our College of Arts and Science. And the cool thing about our School of Business, we actually have a $38 million new School of Business that will be opening up in the fall. So that's something to look forward to. I'm excited about it because we're going to have new places to eat here on campus. Chick-fil-A is good, but it definitely gets old after like 1 or 2 days. So finally, some places to eat here on campus, or more places. And at the bottom, you can see some of our statistics. We're actually one of the most diverse schools in the southeast region of the United States as well. So it's hard to talk about UNC Pembroke without mentioning NC Promise. So NC Promise, there is 3 schools in North Carolina, and UNC Pembroke is a part of one of those. We have $500 in-state tuition and $2,500 out-of-state tuition per semester. So when you think about affordability and setting yourself apart once you graduate, this is something to keep in mind. I started out here in 2016, and NC Promise was not in effect. It kicked in 2018, and it saved me a lot of money personally. And not many students can say once they graduate college, they graduate with little to no debt at all. So that's something always to keep in mind. And at the bottom, you can see some of our estimated costs of attendance for in-state and out-of-state. And any school that you go to, you have to have health insurance, whether that be yours or the one through the school. And if you have your own, you're able to waive the one through the school, so it saves you about $2,600. And also living on campus. We actually, we require all our freshmen to stay on campus their first year. We do have 4 freshman dorms that are strictly for our freshmen. 2 of them are traditional style and 2 of them are suite style. We do have apartment complexes here on campus, but they are for our upperclassmen. We do allow freshmen to have their cars on campus as well. And the good thing about that is most of the time your parking is right behind your dorm, so you don't have to walk a long ways when you're making that transition at night from your car to your dorm. We do have all the laundry located in the dorms on the first floor, as well as the study rooms, and they also have computer labs located there for you as a student to utilize as well. So scholarships that we offer here on campus. We do encourage students to make sure you submit your application by February 1st. To make sure you receive those merit-based scholarships that you could potentially obtain. And we do have also another portal we use. It's called Brave Assist Scholarship Portal. So if you go to uncp.edu/Brave Assist, you're able to see all the scholarships we offer here on campus. That's not necessarily merit-based. It might be because of the specific major you chose. We do have that available for students, and we encourage you to check those out. The good thing about this is actually if you fill out one application, it's called a general application, it'll show you all the other scholarships that you're available for, and you don't even have to necessarily fill out each individual application. It'll just go towards all those. And we also encourage you to make sure you fill out your financial aid so you can use that assistance as well. So getting started here at UNC Pembroke, and how do you go about that? So the one thing I tell students, we do have a Bridge to Brave portal here, and that's our main form of communication between our office, the undergraduate admissions office, and the incoming student. So it's uncp.edu/apply, and you can create that Bridge to Brave portal there. And as everyone else mentioned, we are part of the UNC system, so we are test optional. And at the moment, as far as we know, we're test optional, but if it changes in the future, we'll definitely let you know. But we encourage you to make sure you obtain good grades in your high school courses as of now, and make sure you obtain a competitive GPA. So when you go to apply to any college that you want to go to, that's not something that you have to worry about. And also, when you complete your application, this is where you can upload your transcripts as well as your application fee waiver if you receive that. You can do that all through there. And we also, when you go to make a decision on your major, don't feel pressured. I started out here as an undergraduate, and I did not know exactly what I wanted to do. So that's okay because you're only 17 or 18, and it's okay not to know exactly what you want to do in the future. At times, I still wonder what I'm doing, so it's okay. But once you get started here at Brave Nation, we encourage you to make sure you gain classroom knowledge, get involved here on campus, and also gain experience. So when you get involved here on campus, we do have a lot of options for you to utilize, whether that be intramural sports as well as Greek life, fraternity and sorority life. We do have 22 organizations here on campus. I was actually part of fraternity here on campus as well. We have religious organizations. You can do on-campus jobs. That's always something to get into. And then we also have study abroad, living learning communities, and service learning available for our students as well. When you gain experience here on campus, we have a career center that'll help you get experience and have mock interviews with you. They can also help you get in contact with people here on campus where you can get academic research or internships. And then once you graduate, just make sure you take the knowledge that you gained here at UNC Pembroke to start your career and be confident in what you learned here on campus. So one thing I tell students, we do have some upcoming events here on campus. And this is actually one of our first events that we have back on campus. It will be actually this Saturday. It's our first walkthrough open house. We have 3 different sessions. It's 9 a.m., 11 a.m., and 1 p.m. And we will be having on-site admissions that day. So if you are a senior who kind of is a little bit behind, that's okay. We can help you make that decision as of this Saturday if you apply through your Bridge to Brave portal and you've already submitted all the documents on the application. And one thing, I think we skipped a slide, but it's okay. We do have 14 athletic programs here on campus. We are Division II athletics, and with that, some of our main programs are our basketball, as well as our wrestling team and our track and field. Our baseball team actually just lost yesterday, and they had a 16-game winning streak, and that was the most in our school history. So our sports teams are always going strong, and it's always encouraging to go to sports events here on campus, maybe to see a friend or just to cheer on the other classmates that you have here. I loved our basketball games as a student, and just gives you something to do outside the classroom. Again, we are actually having walkthrough open house, and then actually we are doing on-campus tours as well. So if this is something that you want to do and you think UNC Pembroke is something that you see yourself in the future, definitely feel free to contact us. And the last slide, again, I'm Caleb Mcmillan. I am Assistant Director of Undergraduate Admissions. This is my email and my phone number, so you can feel free to just take a picture here. You can follow us on our social media. We try to make sure we keep that up to date so students can kind of see exactly what's happening on campus as to date. But thank you again, and I look forward to the questions at the end.
Awesome. Thank you, Caleb. Do we need to go back and look at that slide? Do you feel good?
Yeah, we can go back just to look at it right quick.
I don't see one.
It's okay. I might didn't put it on here. That might be me.
Okay. Well,
it's okay.
More information, talk to Caleb if you'd like it. Thank you, Caleb, for talking about UNC Pembroke, our promise school in North Carolina. There are 2 others, but we're really excited that Pembroke was on tonight. So that concludes our conversation with our panelists this evening. Thank you so much to each of you guys for sharing your schools, talking about how the application processes work. And if you're a freshman, sophomore, junior, and you're still wanting to apply in the future to college, these people are going to be really great resources for you. I also can help you out. Ms. Hewitt at Bartlett Yancey, if you are from a Bartlett Yancey student, you can talk with her about applying to schools. And now we're going to move to our prepared panel questions. We might not be able to get to all of them, so but before we get started, I did want to say that Matthew and Nick are with us tonight. Thank you, Matthew Medlin. Thank you, Nicholas Cook, for joining us. You guys have been awesome assets to myself, to Person High School. These 2 students have actually, they are seniors. They've actually helped to prepare the questions for our evening. So thank you guys again for that. These 2 guys are also first-generation college students, which means that their parents didn't go to college. And so they've had to work really, really hard, understanding the process, getting to know what you need to do to apply. And now they're at the point in their process where they're deciding between their schools, which has been a really fun part of the process. So thank you guys for joining us tonight. And they will be facilitating our questions. So if Matthew and Nicholas, if y'all want to get started, we're going to go ahead and go to question 1, and we'll start with Appalachian State as our first speaker, and then it'll just kind of transition through the school. So Matthew, Nick, take it away.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Before we get started, I just want to say a quick thank you to all our college representatives for sharing that really great info, and to Ms. Lester for putting this whole event together to help everybody out. And one thing real quick before we get started with the first question is try to be aware of how much time you're taking so everybody has a chance to speak. But yeah, we'll get started on our first question. So our first question is, what is the general timeline for applying to schools? Should I start in the spring of my junior year or earlier? Where do I start?
So I have the first question. Again, my name's Megan and I'm from App State. And I think this is a great question, especially because there's not really a right or wrong answer. I would recommend, sorry, my dog would bark as soon as I unmute. Anyway, so with that being said, we recommend, I think in my office, not sure if my colleagues here would agree, that you can always start earlier than your junior year, but junior year would definitely be the time to start if you can, because you're going to be applying to colleges later on in the fall, and that's the first semester of your senior year. So you can definitely start earlier. And then where do you start? I think that's a really great question. I would recommend starting in-state, making a list of the colleges that interest you, and that might be based on location or major, and then look out of state. And out of state searches can be, pretty daunting, but you can always just make a list, a pros and cons list, and then start going to some of the virtual opportunities for those schools, learning more about their program offerings and connecting with an admission counselor. So one of us today. So that would be my biggest tip. You can always start earlier, but the good news is that you're thinking about college probably as early as your freshman year.
And anyone can feel free to jump in if you have anything that you might want to add onto the speaker. But if not, we can start with the second question.
Yeah, I can just add something in. Once you have a list of schools that you're interested in, I highly recommend even doing a virtual campus tour, but trying to set foot on campus, because you really don't know what the university is like until you're actually there experiencing it. Campus tours are free too, so it's a really great way to get to know the campus better. You'll be able to meet with a staff member, at least here at UNCG. You'll be able to connect with an admissions counselor to ask any of your individual questions and get to see campus, get to interact with some students. It's a really good way to actually picture yourself on that campus. And I know a lot of students make their decision after they've been on a campus tour.
Also, I would definitely agree. I know with us at Campbell, we do have rolling admission every year, so it's never too early, it's never too late. But I would definitely say always make a list, always make sure that you do have a virtual or in-person tour. I know with us, most definitely you will be able to connect with your admissions counselor in person and also have a very in-depth tour of whatever field you would like to study as well. So.
I know I've taken a couple of tours and types of informational sessions for the colleges I've been checking out, and they've definitely have been instrumental during the whole process. So I definitely agree. Moving on to the second question. What do admission counselors evaluate most when they're making their decisions? So that's kind of, what do they look at when they're kind of going over applicants, and what traits do you believe your school in particular values the most in the applicant? And that is, okay, you can go ahead.
I would definitely say, Campbell, we do evaluate rigor and effort. Those are two things that we do keep into play in terms of also improvement as well. We do like to see a little bit of a jump in things of that nature. So we do see how you were your freshman year as to how you are your senior year. So we do see improvement. We do consider that and really take that very, very well. So that is a couple of the things that we do look at, and also how well-rounded you are, what you do outside of school, community service, extracurricular activities, and things of that nature. So those are some of the things that we do look at, as well as a lot of other universities as well.
I would also say that when it comes to NCCU in specific, because we are a state school, our admissions process is really cut and dry. So we're looking at your transcript, your GPA, and your test scores. That's really it for us because we don't require an essay. So with the test scores, like I said, we either looking for a 10-10 or a 19. Our minimum GPA is a 2.5, but keeping in mind a lot of our scholarships start at a 3.0 or higher. And then we're just making sure that we see all that you've taken all of your courses. Like I said earlier, the 4 maths, 4 Englishes, 3 sciences, 2 social studies, and 2 foreign languages.
Yeah, that's definitely some great advice from both of y'all about things for maybe that most people wouldn't think of at first. Would anybody else like to answer before we move on to our next question? Okay, so our next question, which is very important. So if you have any questions, list up for this one. How can we craft the best essay? What elements are most important to include and convey?
So I know I'm third and I had this question, but because we don't require essays, I would ask if one of the other colleagues on here could go ahead and chime in with this, just because we don't require them at all. I don't know if I would be the best to answer this question.
Yeah, I could definitely add something in terms of UNCG. The number one thing I tell my students when I'm working with them is I'd rather see a genuine essay than a perfectly tailored essay that doesn't look like you wrote it, if that makes sense. When I'm reading an essay, I want to see your experiences, how you word things from your point of view, rather than it being edited so many times. Obviously edit it, make sure there's no typos, make sure it flows well, but I want to see your perspective. I want to hear about you. I want to read about you. It's your application. So whatever you can do to really convey yourself and your experiences across your essay is really what we're looking for. Also, just a general note, if you're writing a general essay and submitting it to multiple schools, make sure you're not listing one individual school on that, because everyone else is going to see it. So that's just a general note, maybe the Common App essay. When you're writing it, don't put one school on there, like don't list just UNCG and submit it to everyone else on this panel, because everyone else is going to read it as well. So make sure if you're doing a general essay to make it general, and if you're doing a university specific essay, then you can get really into the UNCG isms and being a Spartan and all of that kind of stuff.
All right, thank you. That's definitely some good advice, at least in my opinion. I know when I was crafting my essays, having those general essays, and I would read it over after submitting it to multiple places, and I would see like I put UNC, and then I would kind of get scared for a moment thinking I submitted the wrong name to the wrong school, but thankfully that never happened, but it is something to be aware about. So moving on to the next question. All right. What are the ways that a student can pay for school? And that's kind of like in general with things to kind of get set for when you're thinking of applying, and things specifically for your school.
Yeah, so I'm 4, but I'll go quickly to make sure everybody else can answer, because I know every school is super different. So as I mentioned before, the biggest thing for our process is making sure that you have your FAFSA completed by the time that you submit, or during the time you're submitting your application. That way we can use that to offer you scholarships. So we do offer scholarships at the time of admission based off of your FAFSA being completed. So as long as that's done, you can win some scholarships from there. And then after that, our financial aid office does a really good job in awarding individual aid based off of what is on your FAFSA. We do have some individual major and college and school scholarships that you can apply for once you have an established GPA, but those are the top 2 things to be on the lookout for and making sure you're doing at the time of your application process.
I would also say make sure you check out individual scholarships in your local area. A lot of people don't know this, but your local restaurants, your local grocery stores, they offer donations. It's not necessarily classified as scholarships, but they do have donations that could go towards school. So just check out with that, especially if you are a student in high school who has a job. Check out the place that you work at to see if they have opportunities for students. And I also encourage you to get an on-campus job that could assist you along the way too.
And just to plug that local scholarship stuff, a lot of the seniors this year have not necessarily been applying to a lot of the local scholarships. So you people that are in the younger years know that there are like so many, and I'm kind of the one coordinating it. So my website, it's got them all there. So there's one place to do scholarships, but truly, if you think about applying to a $500 scholarship and it takes you 4 hours to do it, it's like $120 an hour. And what job ever gets you that? So let's just think about scholarships and know that that is a huge part of the process. And I cannot say it enough to be applying. So thank you. Sorry, just had to chime that in.
Just to add a little bit, for our style, it is a lot similar. So we do also offer your standard scholarship along with it, depending on your GPA, test scores, et cetera. And then we also do offer need-based merit endowments as well. Also, if you do have any local scholarships that you have applied for, whether it be your place where you work at, church, school, things of that nature, you could also stack that right on top of your initial scholarship. Here we believe on stacking money on top of money on top of money in order to get the best financial situation possible for every student. So that is something a little bit Campbell specific.
And then just to put in a little bit about NCCU, I would say keep in mind of the time frames and time periods when you're looking for scholarships, but not just them, but grants. Grants can really help you out as well. A lot of schools offer grants. We have an Eagle grant. Sometimes you can find Pell grants and things like that. And that's also free money that you don't have to pay back as well. So we have our specific timeline, which is October through the end of February. But through there, you can look at so many things. And then like Jared said, we believe in stacking money as well. So you can put a lot of scholarships, things on top of each other and really help yourself out.
If you would like to go ahead real quick, Ms. Hudson, I've seen you unmute a few times.
Sorry, it's always when everyone catches you unmuting. So yeah, I just wanted to add in, I really agree with everything my colleagues said. I was a first-gen student, so I had no idea what my options were. And I actually have a lot of debt that I probably could have not accrued if I knew a little bit more. And, you know, I try to pay it forward now with my students. But in case you didn't know, FAFSA stands for the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. And it is an application that is given through the federal government that you have to complete with your family each year. It opens in October. So like the other panelists said, you're going to apply for that right when you apply for colleges in the fall as well. So just wanted to add that in just for informational purposes.
Yeah, definitely try to get that FAFSA early as done as possible and start looking at scholarships as early as possible. It'll definitely help you out a lot. So we'll move on to our next question now. What makes your institution unique? This doesn't have to be like a certain major or anything. It could just be something that you find interesting about it that you think other people might want to know.
So we are actually, because we were founded in 1887 to educate Native Americans, we are the first, and if I'm not mistaken, one of the only schools in the United States that was founded by Native Americans for Native Americans. And we are a minority serving institution. So that's big when you think about the history. And another thing I think is the $500 in-state tuition.
I'll go next. So I really think our location makes us unique here in the mountains due to us being in a more of a, I would say like an environment that has seasons in a sense that helps students really get to try new things, especially if you're from another part of the state. So one of the coolest things that we offer is skiing and snowboarding as an elective that you can take for PE class. So if you've never tried that before, it's a really exciting opportunity. So I think our mountainous location definitely is a perk, and don't be too scared of the weather if you're a little nervous about the cold.
I would say the number one thing that I've noticed that makes us so unique is just the family environment that we do provide, along with class size, which is huge. You do really get to develop a lot of personal friendships, relationships, connections, et cetera, while you're here. I will say a lot of our events on campus and a lot of things that are student ran are very, very friendly. I walk on campus all the time. Everybody is saying hi. You see people running, walking, eating with each other, fellowshipping with one another. So those are the things that I do notice as far as Campbell. So I will say here, most definitely, you're not just a number. You are a family member of ours all 4 years. So that's one thing that definitely makes us unique here at Campbell University.
I would say for North Carolina Central, I think we just kind of have the best of both worlds because we're like right in the middle. So we're not a small university, but we're not a big one either. And you get a lot of perks off that. You can go around campus and you might see people you know, but every day you're going to find someone that you don't know. And that kind of adds to everything that goes into our academics, our athletics. We're like right in the middle. So you get like a nice sweet spot of everything.
And in terms of UNCG, I know I mentioned diversity in my presentation, but there's one thing to be a diverse campus and there's another thing to be an inclusive campus. And I think that's something UNCG does really well. We're diverse in every aspect of the term. So there's really is a place for everybody and everybody can feel comfortable and confident to explore new things or do everything that they've already feel comfortable with while they're on campus. The other thing that I like to say, and one of my tour guides says, is that Hannah, Montana, best of both worlds in terms of the city. We are the third largest city in the state, but there are 4 other institutions in the surrounding Greensboro area. So you also get the small college town feel at the same time. So it's not going to feel too big, but it's also big enough to explore new places and see new things.
Well, I believe we have a great assortment of colleges here, very different specialties. So that's definitely something to kind of look into and assess about yourself. What's important for you in an institution of higher education? What do you want to be surrounded by? But yeah, moving on to our final question. All right, so what would be the number one advice that you give students applying to your institution?
Oh, I think this might be me. So if it restarted. So my number one advice, I kind of mentioned this in my presentation, and I think one of my colleagues also touched on this. That would just be making sure that your application is indicative of who you are as a person and really portrays your well-roundedness. So just thinking about your essay, and I know it might vary with the essay on the locations of the schools that you apply to, but also your extracurricular activities that you're involved in, making sure that you really let that school know who you are, because we all read your applications, and so that's a big part of that. So that is my advice, but I'm sure my colleagues have some other really great tips as well.
I'm actually going to hop on this one. I'm Taylor. I'm also a representative of Campbell University. But one thing that I would just recommend is this panel is a great representation of this too. North Carolina is such a beautiful state in higher ed because we have so many different types of colleges and universities. And there's so many different types of people. And I don't think you should feel pressure to go to one school because there really is a school out there for you. So my best advice is to utilize us counselors. We are all obviously very friendly. And typically in a normal world, when we go to CACRO fairs, we all enjoy working with each other. But we're here to help you, and we want you to come visit our campus, and we want you to fall in love with the campus and be somewhere where you want to be and it's the best for you. So don't I guess, let a school go because you don't think you're going to fit in there. Definitely go and visit the campus first before you decide to go or not. So I guess with all that, just go and visit all the colleges and universities because there's a lot of great ones in North Carolina.
So I see we're kind of playing with the mute button a little bit right there. But I would say for North Carolina Central, biggest things to just remember would just kind of be, like I said earlier, just kind of looking at deadlines, and I go for everything just because our application's open all year. You don't want to miss out on scholarships. You don't want to miss out on open house where you can kind of see campus and that time to meet current students and see what's going on. So just kind of keep those dates stuff in mind. For me or any of our colleagues, and we all have websites out there. A lot of us have social media too. All of our institutions have social media. So follow those pages and keep a look on them because it's quick. It's just to jump on your phone, see what's going on at the school, and kind of going through there when you're applying so you'll know what's coming up.
I was seeing if anybody else was going to go. I know we mentioned using your college counselors, and I think that's a really good piece of advice, but also take advantage of your high school counselors. They're right there in your school, and they can do a lot of things for you. They can send your transcripts to us to make sure that we receive that, to review that. They can write you a nice little fee waiver if you qualify for that, which is always something that's nice. They can give you access to a ton of scholarship opportunities. You never know until you ask. So ask questions. I know when I was looking at colleges, I got so mad at my mom because she was asking all of these questions, and I was like, stop asking questions. You're bothering them. No, that's literally what we're here for. That's what your college counselors are here for. That's what your high school counselors are here for. So ask the questions that you want to make sure that you have your application complete and you have everything kind of aligned that you need to know about each institution you're applying for.
Just to quickly add, I will definitely agree. Definitely stay in contact with your high school counselors and your admissions counselors at the colleges that you desire as well. We love talking. We love communicating with our students. I know I love to talk to my students all the time. I would talk to them 24 hours if I could, because I just love talking so much. So communication is always key. We're here to help. We work for you. Just remember that. And that is my tip of advice. So
yeah, I would definitely kind of piggyback off everybody, but make sure when you're applying that you ask yourself a couple questions of what you're looking for in a university. Is this university applicable for what I'm looking for? For instance, if you're looking for a bigger size school, UNC Pembroke is probably not that. We're more of a smaller size campus. So just ask yourself those couple questions. And whenever you do, make sure you look over your application before you submit it to.
All right, all wonderful advice. That is the conclusion of our questions. I just want to thank all of our speakers once again. This was very knowledgeable.
Yeah, that was awesome. And thank you, Nick and Matthew, for facilitating that so well. And we do have a few minutes extra. We finished right about 7:15, so we got about 15 more minutes for any of you guys to ask questions. I'm going to just kind of get off this presentation for a second and turn the chat back on. So if you feel comfortable putting your questions in the chat, or maybe you want to shout it out loud, because, man, we love to hear from students. You are definitely able to put your questions there. Hopefully you wrote some questions down, or maybe you're thinking of them right now, but we'll give you a second to think, and then we'll watch that chat for some questions from you guys. And I'm going to go ahead and close our presentation. And are there any final thoughts from Nick and Matthew? I'd love to hear. You guys are seniors who are applying to schools. Is there anything else that you feel would be useful for the students to know before we let them kind of share their questions too?
Yeah, one thing I think that's good to mention is, it kind of goes back on the last question, but this is for any school that you're applying to. It's really just be yourself, because they can tell when you're not being honest with them and when you're trying to be someone you're not. So it'll just get you farther if you just be yourself and be open about your situation. You know, if something didn't go right, just let them know maybe why it didn't go right and what you can do to improve on your situation.
Right, and I want to kind of add on to that. Your high school experience, if I may give some advice, I would say you want to kind of find out what your passion is. You want to test all these different roads and just see where you're most passionate about and explore opportunities in that route. And then the colleges will see it, and it will just be amazing for you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. And now, students out there, do you have questions? Shout them out. And if not, that's okay. We'll just kind of look at each other on our computer screens.
Can you tell me a little bit about your engineering program that y'all have?
Tell me your name.
Is that any school or one in particular?
Any of y'all.
So here at UNC Pembroke, and sorry to cut you off, Jared. Here at UNC Pembroke, we necessarily don't have an engineering program, but we have a partnership program with NC State University. It's called a 3+2 program. So you attend UNC Pembroke for 3 years, and you obtain your physics degree, and then you make that transition over to NC State, and then you obtain your engineering degree. So in 5 years, you'll actually have a total of 2 degrees, one in physics and one in engineering. So that's just the option we have here at UNC Pembroke.
I know for us, engineering is a specialty, one of the top schools in the country. So we do take engineering very seriously. When you come in for your freshman year, you have 3 projects that you are allowed to do. That's very rare when it comes to engineering programs. So we're very hands-on from the moment that you touch down at Campbell, and then continue on with your first year, second year, third year, and fourth year. We do prepare very well-prepared graduates that go on and are very successful as far as jobs when they get out, as far as going to grad school and things of that nature. So we do take engineering very seriously. A lot of new technology that we do have, so we keep everything up to date. So
here at App, we're pretty similar to UNC Pembroke. We have an accelerated admissions program, which is kind of like UNCP's situation with a 3+1, but that is when you get a undergraduate and a graduate degree at Appalachian within 5 years, which is a huge cost saver. And you would get your undergraduate degree in applied physics and your master's of engineering in your 5th year. And it's accelerated because you actually start your graduate degree in your 4th year as a senior. So that's what helps accelerate the process. So that's what we offer in terms of engineering.
For North Carolina Central, it's pretty similar as well. So we do offer a 3+2 program as well. So you get your first years of physics, then your last 2 engineering. We have 3 partner schools that we partner with. So it's Duke, NC State, and Georgia Tech. And the kind of benefits with us is because we're an HBCU, you get to spend time at HBCU and the PWI for about the price of one. So yeah.
Yeah, so here at UNCG, we do something kind of similar to like everybody else was saying as well. We actually have a pre-engineering concentration that you can be a part of. So you can actually pick your major within that. So it can be physics, math, chemistry, whatever you're wanting to do. And then we have our joint school with NCA&T to get a master's degree in engineering for any specific concentration within engineering that you're interested in.
Thank you. And thank you. My name is Dick Bratcher, by the way. Thank you.
Great question, Duke. That the engineering stuff is sorry, wrong microphone's on. Engineering is a kind of complicated program. I know students that I've been working with who are trying to do engineering. It's been very complicated to figure out exactly what they should do, but obviously these schools have some excellent programs. So good question. Anybody else have any questions like that? And maybe our panel questions were just so amazing that you just don't have any more questions at all. That would be awesome if that were the case. Just for sake of time, I mean, we've got 8 more minutes, so I'm going to stay on, and if the representatives would like to stay on for a few more minutes with us, we will be here to hang out and just kind of chat with you if you'd like to do that. And if you have other things that you need to get going to, like dinner or whatever that might be, definitely feel free to hop off if all your questions are answered. But again, I want to I cannot even express my gratitude to Bethany Hewitt, who's been helping us out with this event, to our seniors who have been here facilitating the questions so eloquently, and then all of our representatives from all these different universities. Thank you guys so much. This was really fun. It's been a process getting this event going, but I'm so excited it happened. This is recorded, so students, if you have friends who weren't able to come, just tell them to email me and I will send them the recording. I'll also post it on YouTube and on our YouTube channel for student services, and it'll go out on a blast email as well.